What we need to do now is we need to get fuel in the bike because we've emptied the tank. So the plan is we're going to put a little tank in here, maybe a gallon and a half. Hot of stainless steel. We're going to put the fuel filler there so we can still fill it up. Then we're going to have a pipe that goes down, put another one under the tank. So what we need to do first of all, strip all this out so that I can work out the tank size to go inside here. That fits underneath it all. I've got the tail unit all stripped out now. So what I've got to do now is make a template for tank to fit in there. All of that space, get a filler on the top, and I'm going to have a little drain pipe out for the tank down here. It goes down to the bottom tank that we're going to have as well. So time to make a template for it. This is the basic template for the bottom of the tank so far. So it slots in under there, so I can get it in and out. It's curved slightly so it fits underneath. It's going to be this high, which is a bit higher than the seat unit, but the trowel over the top, and it's going to come across here, down to there, and underneath here like that. So it's up this sort of shape like that and under there, and that's the beginning of the basic template. Once I've got that all made up in cardboard, I can then transfer it over to stainless. So the plan is, while all the tanks are getting made to go in there and underneath, I'm going to fill it with oil and coolant and run it and see what's happening. So put the oil in the oil filler as usual. I've took the oil return for the turbo off because I'm just going to make sure to pump in oil through there and how much it's pumped through and let it drain into there. So let's see what's happening. So the bike's got coolant in it, it's got oil in it. I've rigged my tank up on here so I can get fuel into the fuel rail, and it's not a brilliant setup but I'm quite impressed with how it's gone. Time to crank it and see what it does. So the plan is, this filler off the original tank is going to go into here there, plumbed in to the top of this tank here that we're going to make out of stainless. Lift that tank out and show you the size of it. And that's going to be the size of the first tank. There's going to be a couple of pipes out the bottom of the tank here and here, which are going to run down either side of there. Then they're going to feed down to a tank that's going to go underneath the bike. So there's going to be two tanks on it. So our stainless steel sheet's turned up, so now what I've got to do is mark that up onto that stainless steel, start making the first fuel tank that's going to go on the tail unit. So I've got the first bit cut out now. What I've got to do next is get bend in here, get a bend up in here and a bend in there, and that's basically going to be that piece, that bit, and that folds up into there for that piece, and that's going to be the bottom of the fuel tank. Then I'll have to cut another piece for the top, tack it together. So I've got all the bits cut out now, ready to make the tank to go under the tail unit. I'm going to put a bend in there, bend in there, bend in there. That's for the bottom piece of the tank, so that goes around there. Two side pieces and the top piece, which is going to have a bend in here. Bend all them up 90 degrees and weld it together. Then basically once it's made up and it looks like this but out of metal, put a fuel filler fitting in the top, and then in the front of the tank I'm going to have two fittings going to here, so I can have two pipes to run the fuel down to the bottom tank. So fuel tank's all bent up now, all the metal's fabricated. Got one piece there, another piece on the bottom, piece at the back, piece to go in the front. I've got spot weld all that up. I've also got to put a hole in here, so a hole in there and a hole in there, so the fuel lines can run down to the tank that's going to go under the bike. I've also got to put a little air line in here so it get air into the tank, so when it sucks the fuel out it doesn't get an airlock. And I've also got to be able to get the fuel into it, so I bought this stainless fitting with a screw on top, and the plan is I can cut a hole in the top wherever that's required, weld that in, and that's the top fuel tank really. So I've just got to wait for the fittings to come. I can spot weld it all up and that's it, ready to go. So fuel tank's all finished, all fitted up, fuel filler there, got the fuel return line that's going to come back from the fuel rail or fuel pressure regulator. I've got an air breather line which is going to be a pipe to let air into the tank, so when it sucks the fuel out of it doesn't compress the tanks and wreck them. Put a little mount on there, yes I know my welding shotgun, but put a little mount on there so it's bolted in so it can't go anywhere. Have a little bracket on the front as well to bolt it in. And then we come around here. There's our two fuel line take out, so we're going to have a pipe out here, pipe out there, and they're going to run down there, under here, along there, down and under to the bottom fuel tank. That's the first fuel tank done. So I had this air filter on and it's quite small and I'm limited with space on there, so I've decided I'm going to scrap this, and I've made a little gauze mesh to go over the top of the turbo just to stop big debris getting in. I'm going to run it like that. There shouldn't be a lot of dirt get up in here anyway, because we're into a tank with another sort of gauzy thing on the side of the tank here, so it should be okay. If I get problems then I'll swap it out, but that is far too small. So what I've got to do now is get a fuel tank to fit underneath this belly pan, filled all of that up under here, all this space, all of this, and down in there. So that's all going to have a big fuel tank in all the way along there. Get about 4 gallons in hopefully. But before I do that, I've got to have a radiator fitted in here so that I can get coolant into the charge cooler and the turbo. So what I've bought is a Performance CRF450 radiator, little thing, and the plan is we're going to mount that up in the front of the bike in there under the fairings, and then once that's mounted up we can work on the shape for the bottom tank and get that cut out. So the radiator is now in. I've got the first mounting bracket in there. I've got to put another bracket in the bottom, go from in there across to over here, And I'm going to put a bracket as well into the plastics as well, just to hold the plastics onto it. And then the plan is, in here, I'm going to put a little aluminium scoop in there, comes round, sort of sucks the air off of it out the side of the bike, helps it get the heat off as well. So that's where that's going to live. So I've got the side casing back now for the crank with the clutch cover. I've got my custom made machined fitting now in there, so I can get the A10 fitting on. So now I need to fit that onto there and plumb that pipe up onto that A10 fitting. So got the engine casing back on over the clutch, got the oil return line back on now, all plumbed up and working, that's all sorted. Still working on the front radiator, so I've got 2 brackets made for it. I've got to make another bracket come off this side, go over to somewhere in here, and then it's just a case of running the pipes. And that's the radiator now finished for the coolant for the turbo. Got some brackets made up here mounted onto the motor, so this can't move at all. Had to cut the corner off of here and weld this up just so it fits better under the fairings, because the fairings curve up there, so it now completely clears the fairings. Also underneath, got a little pipe under here. I've made this bracket to go around there, and then I've installed the water pump. So it's going to suck the water out here, pump it up there, and I've got a pipe running up here, up round, into the turbo, and pipe from the turbo coming back down, going into the top of the radiator in there, so that should cool the turbo and the charge cooler quite sufficiently. I'm also going to run a power cable off of here. I haven't got it wired up yet, which is just going to run off the ignition, so as soon as the ignition's on, spools this up, starts running it. Also got the fuel pump ordered and the fuel filter ordered, so this is going to mount up under the tank. It's a 004 Bosch pump, so fuel from the tank into there. I've got fittings as well, ordered a bag full of fittings. So fuel line fitting into the tank, bit of pipe into there, pipe from there, there's a little mesh gauzy thing in there, pipe from there, pumps it out of there, through here, and then I'm going to have to run it through this little see-through filter, so I can filter the fuel before it goes up. And from there, these are 8mm, so 8mm inner diameter pipe, run that up to the fuel rail. Then I've got fuel to the system as well. The only issue of really concern I've got with the whole fuel system is, are the injectors going to be big enough? Guess we'll find that out when we go to dyno it. So, been having a complete nightmare. For the tank that's up in there, I made a cardboard template, and I've been trying to make a cardboard template to fit all under here so I can get the shape of the tank. Trying to get the cardboard to fit inside the fairings so it all fits up inside here and round in there. The problem I've got is every time I put the fairings into the bike, it's just wrecking the cardboard template, and it's just been a pain in the arse. So plan B, I've ordered some foam, and the plan is I'm going to cut this foam into shape, cut it into whatever shape I need. I can fit it into those fairings, I can fit the fairings on and off the bike as much as I want, then I'll have the shape of the tank, then I should be able to make the actual metal tank from the foam. This is now the new plan. So mark the first piece of the foam out. Best way to cut foam with a big ass bread knife. So basically line both sides, keep the knife in the line, and just, in theory, first time I've done this, cut through it. Never cut towards your hand, it's really bad and unsafe, so always cut away. There's the first bit, cut, ready. So, got a rough idea now, cut a rough shape out of the foam. I know it's rough as hell, but by the time it's transferred onto metal and made into shape, So this basically slots up into there like so, fits into the fairing. The sump comes down into this area here. I've got a water pump down here and I've got a fuel pump in there. Fits into the fairings quite well. I've also at the front, there's quite a lot of space in here, so I'm going to build the tank up into this area here. So I'm going to make the bottom bit and then work on this shape here, but starting to take place, getting there.